Welcome to Spine Africa Television. I am Patricia Mawa. With a lucrative job as an engineer in an oil company, Dr. Amos Dada decided to pursue a higher purpose of inspiring individuals to achieve their full potentials. He decided to serve as a minister of God. His new book, To the Rescue, Say No to Corruption, is set to impact present and future generations of leaders.
Dr. Amos Dada is the District Superintendent of Christ Apostolic Church, Bethel, Toronto. After obtaining his bachelor's degree in 1981 and master's degree in 1984 from the University of Ife, he proceeded to earn a PhD in chemical engineering from the University of Benin in 1995. Before migrating to Canada in 2001, he worked as a process engineer of Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC.
There's no doubt that I was making a lot of money. I was working with NNPC. NNPC is Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation. It's regarded as the cash cow of the nation, and I was privileged to be there. But what I found out in life is that there's something they call purpose. You need to fulfill your purpose. Moving from chemical engineering to what I call Jesus engineering, it's about fulfilling purpose. I may miss dollar, but I'm affecting millions of lives. And that is about purpose. Instead of refining oil, I'm refining human beings. When you have a good relationship with your parents or your friend or your spouse, you are happy, isn't it? Yes, Lord. Isn't it? Yes. Do you go to bed killing yourself, cursing yourselves? No. Holiness is a life that makes you happy with God. When you find that you can relate with God, you are happy with God, there is something we call holiness that is working in your life.
Dr. Dada is a very passionate man of God. He's a man full of integrity. Every time he shows that do what I do. Do what I do what I say, and he does it. And you could see it in him that he loves God. Man that cares about people, about his community. And I love him so much, and he's a mentor. He has mentored me in many areas. I came to this church as a member. Today, I'm a pastor. He's the one that have mentored me, that have shaped in my life, and I'm proud to be associated with Pastor Dada.
I've been a part of the church for about 5 years, and I really do enjoy it because it's such a community. It's very family oriented, and you're welcomed by everyone, and you're surrounded by love. You're surrounded by family and by people that care about you, and there's always someone willing to help, someone that contacts you just to see how you're doing. I'm in chemical engineering, and that's what Pastor Dada studied. And so I remember before I actually made the decision, for most of my high school year, I always thought, I was going to go into business. Engineering came up, and I know he was such a big help then, where I would sit in his office for hours. I'd go to his house, and I'd ask him questions about, what do engineers do? What kind of jobs can I do? Do you think it's a good idea? What schools are good? And he helped me throughout all that.
I feel connected to God being here. I feel connected to what I believe is my destiny in life. I see myself as one who's been planted by God to help wherever I am. I have a passion for God, and I see that in the church, I see that in the ministers, I see that in the pastors.
Dr. Amos Dada is married to Eyitayo Dada, a lawyer by profession. She was called to the Nigerian bar in 1985 and to the Ontario bar in 2011. She earned a master's degree in petroleum and environmental law and holds a doctorate of pastoral counseling.
I met him when I was 17 years old. I was in the University of Ife, and he was kind of more like a big brother. He helped me with my homework. Actually, he was actually my tutor for mathematics, and he ministered Christ to me and followed me up through the church. And somewhere along the line, something happened. We were very good friends, but we had a 7-year courtship, and he was a man of integrity. He was a man of his words and very loving.
My wife is a blessing. She's 1 in a million. No, if that's even too small. 1 in a billion, even no, 1 in a trillion. You know, she's unique. She's a hard worker. She's a hard worker. She's a blessing, and she's prayerful. She's dutiful. She doesn't. You know, there are some people, because they are lawyers or they are this one, they can't cook for their husband. They disrespect their husband. That's totally a no-no for my wife. Oh my, this is God's gift for me. My wife is a gift.
A lot of things that I learned from them now that is helping me in my marriage, and one of it is not arguing in front of people. In all of the times that I've lived in the house, a lot of years, they don't argue in front of us. I haven't seen them actually have a blown out argument. So even going into my marriage, that is something that I really took to heart, and it's something that I really do practice now in my marriage. It was a wonderful thing to have my dad walk me down the aisle. It's one of those things that first dance, we were like, no, we didn't dance with each other all this time until the day of the wedding. So it was really amazing to know that you have your dad, that he's still here, just to have him as a support and smiling and everything. It was really wonderful.
I thank God for the children, and I thank God for my husband. He is a father. Like, he is a father of fathers. I tell my children, I'm like, if the Lord blesses you with a husband half as handsome, half as honorable, half as blessed as this man, you're blessed. He loves the youth. He loves young people. And it starts with his own children. I have 5 girls, and you know, the African culture, sometimes having girls is a huge issue. He loves his girls with his life to the last.
The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and really your parents help to define and shape your life. And I know how much having the support of my parents has helped me to do so much. And he's the type of father that will remind you of the potential that is in you. It's enabled me, even when I was 16, run a painting business. I had about 40 painters. Most of them were the average age of 25. I've been able to release a couple of music albums full length. I run my own nonprofit organization with a team that goes out into the downtown Toronto core, serving the community, and just being able to pour into others the wisdom that my parents have poured into me. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I'm talking to people and I'm just quoting my parents, positioning myself to run in the upcoming federal election as the Member of Parliament representative with the Conservative Party here in Etobicoke North. And it's like, I would never have been able to see myself doing something like this if I didn't grow up with parents who looked at me and told me, Toyin, if you set your mind to it, you can do anything you put your heart to do.
Planet Africa Television will be right back.
Welcome back. For Dr. Amos Dada, making a difference in the community where one lives is paramount in showcasing God's love.
CAC as a church has helped this community tremendously. Number one, for me as a person, we teach values. And I wrote a book, How to Make the Church Relevant to the Society. I did the research on that, and I found out that in 1911, 98% of Canadians were going to church. Only 2% were not. By the time I was doing that research, it's the total reverse. So for us, I'm passionate to make sure that as much as we can do, we want to reach them. In 2003, I started what is called Best Literacy Club. We are holding evening schools, we are holding homes, helping them with their assignments. And then there was a time also when there was 2005, there was so much of gang-related problems. One of the things, as at that time, I was the president of International Ministers Fellowship. So we applied for grants and we were able to get some money. We have a computer room, even right now it's still in the church. We teach them drumming, we teach them sciences and so on. Get food, we get materials. We ask the welfare committee to share it with shelters and so on and so forth.
He's done a lot in the community when it comes to dealing with the issue of guns and gangs. Within the church itself, we reach out to the widows inside the church. We also reach out to the youth and young people. We make it a project every year, either Easter, Christmas, or New Year, and sometimes both. The whole church gives something, and we'll take like dry rations to shelters and other community programs.
I was introduced to CAC Bethel and Pastor Dada about 8 years ago, okay, and became interested in the church community as a result of his personality in a way and the way he presented the word to me. And so I decided to become active member of the musical department because I felt I should play. The pastor and his wife is an amazing couple, and their children loving, and you know, it's basically about the integrity of pastor, the way he presents himself, not only here on the pulpit and during services, but outside as well.
We are a community church. We're also very much a family church. And once a month, we celebrate the families. People that have new babies bring their babies into church. We just have a color, just coordinated color, just to support them.
So they would say, I want you to wear this color, you know, I want you to wear that color. And so everyone in the church, as many as have that color, if you don't have that color, you're still welcome to come to church. That's the way we celebrate one another.
Most people have that color in their wardrobe already, because one thing we do not really like is asking people to spend money where it's not necessary. So people have that color, so we call for a color and everybody wears it. And it makes that person have a sense of belonging and excitement. Everybody feels a part of what that individual is doing.
Of pastorate, the entire church, CAC Bethel Toronto, presents this beautiful color to you. Happy birthday.
Mama that celebrated her birthday didn't know we were getting her a cake or a card. She had no idea. But you know, we throw surprises like that. For the women, we'll hold a surprise baby shower, because we just want everybody to feel loved.
Planet Africa Television will be right back.
Welcome back. Annually, Dr. Amos Dada and members of the Christ Apostolic Church Bethel organize the Gathering of Eagles, an event that is meant to equip individuals with tools that will enable them to live a fulfilled life.
What we do in the International Gathering of Eagles Conference is raising an eagle generation. Raising a generation that will focus on God. Raising a generation that people can depend on. Raising a generation that will love God with all that it takes. We have been to about 14 nations. We've been to Brazil, to Sri Lanka, to India, to Malaysia, to Singapore, to Rwanda, to South Africa, to Uganda, to Ghana, to Nigeria, to Togo. Many of these nations, by the grace of God, we've been there. I've written some books. We take those books there to them as much as possible.
The conference is about training the trainers. The conference, it brings out the best. It is aptly called the International Gathering of Eagles. When you come to that conference, you must soar. At the end of the conference, we just come to renew our strength like the eagles do.
Eagle doesn't just eat anything. It doesn't, just live a useless life. Eagles stand out. And so the purpose of International Gathering of Eagle is to bring ministers together. And it's like a leadership program to train the leaders so that they can train others to live well.
The International Gathering of Eagles itself is a way we reach out to people in the community within Canada and outside of Canada. We get our young children, to bring in something worth like $5, like pencils and pens and all that, and then we ship it. We ship it out to people, children in countries like Uganda that don't have.
We have what is called Eagle Believers Magazine, which is more or less a report of what we do. So we print this in thousands and take it to the nations and to show them what we have done, where we have been, and so on and so forth. And it's encouraging people.
For Dr. Amos Dada, living a well-balanced life is imperative for growth. As a father and husband, he is committed to raising a generation that will bring value to the world.
Being a pastor, there's a lot of pressure from people watching you, watching what you do, what you say, how you say it, when you say it, why you're saying it. But you're always trying to do the right thing, right by everyone.
Being raised by Nigerian parents, especially in Canada, is interesting. It's, to say the least. I think one of the good things about it is that it's taught me a lot of respect, because, like being raised like Yoruba especially, you need to respect your elders, you respect those that are older than you. Education is very important to Nigerians. They're raising up their kids to be better than they are, so how can we do that? We have to take school very seriously, which is something that I find very important and I've been trying to do. If someone's like, oh, this class is so hard, that prof is so hard, people do well, right? They don't have two heads. So that's something that my parents have always taught me about education.
For Africa to develop, for Africa to be what it is, education is key. I think that is one thing we are giving to this community, and that's what is helping me also with the children. So, like you had one of them, they know that, look, for us not to be educated is going nowhere. Education has opened a lot of doors for me. When you are educated, you stand. You stand out. You have developed your mind. The sky is not your limit. So that is one value we are emphasizing. There are some who said, my pastor has a PhD, I must have a PhD. And I have many of them like that.
Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty.
Having parents like mine has been really, really great. They've been such amazing people to model my life after, because I know so many people who grow up without role models and without someone in their life that's a good figure for them to live their lives and trying to be like. But with my parents, I have people who are around me all the time that are really good examples of how to live and steward a godly life.
Children are the gift of the Lord. We are just stewards, But I also know that parenting is a key job. It's not guesswork. God has helped us. Number one, the children, they are very hardworking themselves. They saw the value of education, and so they work hard. So living a sample of a life you want the children to live, living it for them is easier for them. I wrote in a book I call Dream Dreams I Have Dominion. I said, say all you want to say. If you are smoking and you are telling your son, look, this smoking is killing me, don't go there, you are wasting your time. That boy is already smoking. Because if you can't discipline yourself, why will he discipline himself?
Planet Africa Television will be right back.
Welcome back. It is not every day that an engineer and a minister of the world writes a book on the subject of corruption. For Dr. Amos Dada, the book had to be written to create a paradigm shift, especially on the continent of Africa.
Writing a book about corruption is just a follow-up to what we are doing. I was in production department when I was in the oil industry, from there to technical department. But they also saw that this guy has something extra. They saw the probity, they saw the integrity. So even before I left NNPC, they have moved me from coal engineering to procurement department. They saw a lot of people there who are just doing things the way it should not be. There was too much bribery, and the company was not moving forward. So they said in their management that, look, that can sanitize this place. I have written it specifically for the younger generation. In 30 years' time, the young ones that are watching now are the ones that will be ruling. So whatever we can do now to convince them against materialism, against a verbose lifestyle, is what we need to do. And that is what this book is doing.
He's not trying to sweep anything under the carpet, but everyone who reads it, I believe, would have something to gain from it. That corruption can only destroy, as the scripture says that it is only righteousness that exalts a nation.
It is a good narrative about what needs to be done and what is currently being done. It's an expose in that regard. And I think it is something that needs to be taught.
One important thing about this book is that it's like a novel. So he knows the people he is trying to reach out to. So he wrote it in such a way that it would be appealing to them. He mentioned something when we were being audited that, you know, I'm not living my life to satisfy the government. I'm living my life to lay a good example for God himself to know that I'm a man of integrity.
I believe every one of us in life is created for something. You know, it takes us, we graduate to that level. You don't, it takes time to discover it, but when you discover it, you need to fulfill it. It's more fulfilling for me, I believe this is what I was called and created for. So, to me, not making millions is not a problem. And I can tell you, I'm not poor. I'm well fed, God has taken care of me, and by all means, and again, I can say this, material things, they are good, but one of the things my father taught me is be content with what you have.
That's all for the program. I hope you are inspired by Dr. Amos Dada not to focus on the problems of society, but to be part of the solution. If you'd like to know more about us, please visit our website at planetafricagroup.com. Also follow us on Twitter and join us on Facebook. I am Patricia Baby Mawa. See you next time. Goodbye.